Aloha, Namaste, Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us today on Divine Soul Journey. My name is Dianne Ojar, and I'm so pleased to be here with you once again. As a disclosure, I just want to make sure a disclaimer that this is not about religion. We respect everyone's faith and beliefs. We're just here for you to bring things to the consciousness, to be aware with the conversations I have with my host, with my co-host. I'm going to call him a co-host because he's my co-host, because he's my guest. And we all become co-hosts together. At one point in time, we will be sharing some forgiveness practices. I know how much you all love it. And we all need to give forgiveness and be grateful for what we do every day. But as we go along, we'll let the show take its own course and its own energy. And here we are, once again. But people usually ask me why Divine Soul Journey, and Divine Soul Journey is simple. Divine because there is a higher force out there, if you choose to believe. And that could be whoever it resonates with you. A soul, spirit, because we all have one. And we want to journey together. And we want to be on that journey together with you. And if you have any questions, you would like to reach out to us at dsjshow2020@gmail.com. But I'm really excited. I'm always excited for my guests and my co-hosts. And this gentleman is very interesting. Wealth of knowledge. He's loved by many. Very connected. But guess what? That doesn't hold him back. He still has a big, huge heart. Very compassionate. And he loves to connect with people when he sees people can collaborate to make this world a better place for you and I. So please help me with a warm welcome. And I'll let Hans talk a little bit about himself, but welcome Hans to Divine Soul Journey. And welcome, Hans.
Thank you, Dianne, for the nice invitation, for the kind invitation to your platform.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know how busy you are, so we really truly appreciate that. So tell us a little bit, who is Hans?
That's a very big question, Dianne, but to keep it simple, I'm like everyone else, a person who's looking to make a life meaningful and fulfilled and have fun. My background is in the sciences, and I spent my life in biomedical research and pharmaceutical drug discovery until 2009, when I moved into the world of wellness and prevention. So, who am I? That's a big question. I was born with German genes, grew up with an Irish temperament, and moved to the States in '86. So I really appreciate the concept of freedom and freedom of expression, and the ability to pursue my passion, which is basically helping people in a life of service.
And that you do, and you certainly have fun doing it. I can guarantee you that one. So you and thank you for sharing that. You're in a very interesting field, or you came from a very interesting field, because what you're doing, as I know for myself, I have the background of the quantum side of it, because my background is neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy and time-land therapy. But on the other side of it, I also have the Tao and Healing Hands modalities on the healing side. And once I could say a healer, and yes, I can say a healer. And you came from that background, the scientific background, because even in healing modalities, and again, we're not here to convince anyone about anything we're talking about, just be open. It's the fact there is a science to everything that we say and we do. Is that correct? Please correct me if I'm wrong. We're here to educate, even myself.
Yes, I mean, we all try to understand the phenomenon. I by training, am an X-ray crystallographer, which is a technology that has given us all the information, or lots of information about the atomic world, the distances between atoms, the shapes of molecules, whether they be small molecules, small chemicals, or phytonutrients or plant molecules, to the big molecules of life, which are called proteins. So I have what I would call a philosophical materialist perspective, and recognize that it's all the basic matter, the basic substance of the universe is matter, and
Yes.
the physical laws that it obeys should, in general, sort of explain most physical phenomena. So,
And you see, that fascinates me. It does fascinate me because there's so much to know and so much to learn. Many people, I've said this before, people believe that their head is disconnected from their body, their brain is disconnected from their body, and the healing modalities that many use, and there's so many different healing modalities and techniques and programs and platforms, it's very disconnected. And I know recently that this fell in my lap, and I know I'm guided, so I'm not taking credit for this whatsoever or anything in my life anymore, is the fact that the brain fell in my lap, and for some reason I was pushed energetically, spiritually, to start talking about the brain. And it's actually really fascinating. A lot of people were very fascinated about it because they never thought about it. But what it did for me particularly, it opened up my consciousness and opened up my awareness and world to a whole nother level. So this is why it's fascinating for me to have you on here, because you understand that. How did the transition from going so scientific to spiritual healing, or on that, from one spectrum to the other, the transition, how did you go from there to there? There must be a story behind this.
So I mean, there are steps along every person's journey, and there are people that they meet on that journey that are responsible for the detours and the direction. I guess moved from a business or an area of research which was looking at single molecules and their effect on a particular protein that is involved in a particular disease, to a more whole body approach. So if you think of the difference between Western and Eastern medicine, a friend of mine years ago, a cell biologist, mentioned to me that Western medicine is really based on cutting up dead people and seeing how the bits fit together. It's quite a deconstructionist approach.
Yes.
To figuring out what makes the body function. And we all know that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
That's correct.
By contrast, the Eastern medical traditions are looking at the whole living organism to see what keeps it in balance. And they talk about chakras and meridian points and spinal energies and look at it from a perspective of what are the different things that it needs to keep it in balance. Now, when you merge the East and the West, you get a particularly powerful understanding of what keeps the miracle machine working. So I would say that it's not going from one to the other, but just increasing or keeping an open mind to what is out there that impacts, this miracle machine. Hope that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the human body is amazing, so powerful, and it has the ability to heal itself once we understand the different parts of it and how the different parts work, and the unconscious, subconscious mind is the one that does all the work. And we'll see if we go down that way in that conversation. However, yes, absolutely, it does make sense, and I hope if anyone who would like to find out more, please, send us comments, because I would love to take this conversation even further. But go ahead, please. Yes. So you're on that journey where you went from one to the other with your research.
So what that sort of opening up the whole world of traditional sort of medicine made me aware of, and sort of helped me embrace, is what you were talking about, the body as a healing device. We are all, we're all confronted with many insults to our human body, not only mental, emotional, but also physical. And it's important that the physical part and the mental part and the spiritual part have a solid foundation. Being a philosophical materialist, I tend to go into more the nutritional wellness part of the equation. And a friend of mine put it very, very well. He said, it's truly amazing what the human body and its immune system can do when provided of all the nutritional building blocks that it needs. So keeping it simple, then the question has to come down to, are you providing? And how do you know objectively that you're providing? Because the problem with our wellness is that we feel fine, and fine is not a motivator of action.
Mm-hmm.
Pain is a good motivator of action. So when we feel fine, there's no reason to do anything. And I joke, if it ain't broke, don't break it. So that's the world that I live in, and is helping people who are ready to take back control of their health and direct how they want to preserve their youthful health and energy.
Let me ask you this question here. And we're here with Hans, your Divine Soul Journey. And thank you so much for joining us. One of the things we know is pain. Pain is really a signal. It's a message to the body saying something is wrong. And we tend to disregard it. We tend to deny it and ignore it, only because we don't want to deal with the pain. So what we do is we go to traditional medicine to nurse the pain, just like they say when you have a fever, right? You don't nurse the fever. However, on the other side of that, one of the things we do know is the fact when we say fine, do you believe that maybe saying fine is that you may have an idea something's wrong? It depends on how they say it, but just to sweep it under the rug, not to address it because they believe, a miracle is going to happen and they're going to get better without doing anything or taking action. Because some people can say, I'm fine. In my opinion, they should ban that word, to tell it the truth. Take it out of your vocabulary, because it really, like you said, it does not describe anything. It's like sitting on the fence. It's either there's something wrong, there's not something wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we're all human beings, and there is a joke, denial is not just a river in Egypt, it's a form of coping with the existential reality of our lives, and until we until we experience the pain. I mean, there's an old saying, change happens when the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. So we've got to acknowledge, I think, the human beings' behavior and habits are difficult to break, and that's why we have a very, very healthy medical industrial complex that treats sickness and pain, and the whole industry of wellness is really for the brave people who are willing to connect people to that difficult question: is, what are you doing to keep yourself well? Because it's invading their so-called personal space and their freedom to live the life, however they want to choose. So it's important that we are aware of the consequences of the choices, the lifestyle choices that we make. At least for me, that is, because the idea for me is, or my priority is, to die young, as late in life as possible. I don't want to. I will do everything to make sure that I don't spend the latter years of my life, in pain and suffering and being nursed as I slowly wait to die. And that sounds, it sounds depressing, but we all know people that have made the transition in a very painful way.
Absolutely.
It took my mother, I think, about 10 years to pass from stroke after stroke.
Sounds like my grandmother. My grandmother had strokes. I remember my dad bought my niece, who used to live with us, a dress for believing that she was going to pass. She was in a coma. She died like 10 years after as well. I forget that. But one of the things is that, and just as a reminder, we're not here as a disclaimer to say do not visit your traditional medicine doctors. Do what you have to do. It's good to know I've known people who have had a colonoscopy. They went in and the doctor sent them for a test for something else, and they found that they had cancer that saved their lives. So don't be ignorant of that. We're not saying no, but we're also saying there's prevention and preventive, because the body can heal itself. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. I was about more than a year when I got my, when we were, I don't give any details and not to time this, but I had a vaccine, and of course it totally knocked me down. But here is on the other side of it. I understand why. I used to get like, oh my goodness. And I'm telling about a year on different occasions. However, what I realize is, I just remember, prior to that, I was looking at my life and saying, did I want to do these shows? Did I want to do this? Did I want to do this? This? And it was a direction, and it said to you know what? I'm going to give you time out. Serious, true story. Give you time out. I'm going to give you a time. And of course, at the same time, I had signed up for a certification, a very deep certification to get a transmission that can help people. And this is not about helping everybody. It's about helping myself to begin with, okay? It's all about myself, self-healing, which I can help others. But that whole year, after I complained so much, I looked back and I said, I appreciate the good, the bad, and the ugly. I needed a time out, and I needed to purify and to be tested to what's coming up next with all the different projects and everything. So for me, it was, yes, looking back and say, okay, I did take medication from some things that arise. That didn't go very well because my body is saying, no, I don't want you to do that. But at the same time, my kidneys and my liver, which I didn't have a problem before, there was a little bit of problem, corrected itself. Of course, by some diet and mindset and a lot of healing and a lot of work. So I understand that yes, there is traditional medicine, but it's another side to it. What would you recommend someone to try to move from, not to suggest anything, to move from one transition to the other?
So be a little bit more specific, Dianne. What?
So if someone is looking for answers, take me through a process, how you will work with a client.
So I use a device, a technology that's based in science and is patented to the University of Utah that measures a biomarker of a person's lifestyle. And that begins the conversation of what is it that it means to them, what is it that they're willing to do to improve their measurement on this device, and how can I be of service, and how can I be their so-called guide through the journey. And it's really the core of my business. But let me also back up to something that you've also said, and I'd like to read, if you let me read this.
Oh, absolutely. Whatever you like.
There was an interview that in January of 2022, Dr. Campbell interviewed Dr. Cohen in Israel on his experience with treating about 2,000 to 3,000 Omicron patients. And I transcribed from that YouTube video what Dr. Cohen said, and I think it might sort of phrase or put into the right context what we're talking about. So here goes what he said. It reminds me a little bit in medicine. If we go back to the time when penicillin was discovered, I think this was a turning point in medicine, whereby we stopped thinking about the whole body as a unit, and we started to think, we can find actual specific cures for a specific bacterium. Therefore, we're going to target certain lesions in the body, whether it's a bacterial insult, whether it's a virus, whether it's a cancer, whether it's an antibody or autoantibody, whatever. We started thinking in this very microscopic and almost tunnel vision way, unfortunately, which has its benefits. It's important. We need to know what is the thing causing the illness. But what the downside of that is, we have as a medical culture, I think, forgotten that if we actually strengthen the entire body, then the body can also do a lot of that work. It's the body that's doing it anyway. Even when we give someone an antibiotic, the antibiotic often doesn't kill the bacterium, but it may stop the replication enough so the body's immune system has time to react and treat the infection. So again, it's very much about, yes, we've got to do all the clever things, but we need to think about the person as a whole, human being, and how to support a whole human body. And that's really where I'm coming from, is that what is the foundation of your health and your nutritional health to support that whole human body to do what it's always doing, healing you through the various insults that attack it every single day.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do know, and I'll give you just some quick facts, is that the body is made of about 80%. You could probably give me the, probably it's a more accurate number, around 80% of water. And I had to learn that because I was never a water person, but I had to. And but I boiled my water, and for some reason I cannot drink tap water. I gag on it, but I do drink the boiling water. And I also have a very special water. And in saying that, that made a huge difference. And the other thing that happened to me for that whole year was sleep. And unfortunately, that didn't go very well. But sleep is another thing, because when the conscious mind is monkeying around and talking chatter, which I'm famous for, the unconscious mind can't get to work to do the repairs and maintenance that you need. So we need sleep. We need to know how to control our minds. We need to know how to control pretty much our life, and everything is a choice. We have a choice to move forward, or to stay right here, or to stay where you came from, stuck with all the drama behind you. So what we're saying today right now is that you have choices. Hans, how do your clients, when you recommend certain changes to their lifestyles, their beings, their diets, their health, which also affects their wealth, they don't believe that or understand that. Are they receptive? Are they open to suggestions when you make recommendations?
So, Dianne, there's a whole philosophy of motivational inquiry. Mm-hmm. None of us likes to be told what to do. Mm-hmm. My 14 years in wellness has sort of come down to making it very simple by creating the awareness. And you create the awareness that is understood to the extent that now you've given the person a choice. But it's the person that has to make the choice. That's right. That device gives them an integrated biomarker of their health. It sort of creates actually more of an emotional response. And we know that, from thoughts to be turned into beliefs and acted on, there are two ways to do it. There's having an emotional experience, which sometimes can be incredibly painful, or repetition. So the device I use creates a gentle emotional response that the person can then say, okay, I'm ready. But the person has to say, I'm ready.
That is correct.
That can happen. And once they are ready, then I can create options and pathways for them to choose from. But the choice always remains with them.
Absolutely.
And the reason why we don't have a very vibrant wellness industry, it's quite big as it is, but it's not in any way as big as the sick care industry that we've created over the last number of decades, is because, most people are happy to wait for the pain. And then they have the expectation, as you've been saying, they have the expectation that system will fix it for them. It may very well be. The triumphs of modern medicine, really go back to, in the past 200 years, have been most striking in preventing and curing infections. Good sewer systems and good anti-infectives have done a lot of things for our public health, and that's really where Dr. Cohen was speaking to. That has spilled over into the expectation that all of the lifestyle-induced maladies, like cardiovascular, metabolic diseases, which can be traced back to the food system that we have, or that we're eating, can also be treated with the same kind of approach as bacterial and viral infections. And that's not strictly necessarily true.
Okay.
So I would say let's keep it very simple. If you eat right, and you keep fit, you drink lots of water, you have good night's sleep, and you're connected to beautiful people, you will likely live long and die quick. Absolutely. Now, that's as simple as playing golf, but that's not easy. As golf is also not easy, because we have to get out of our own way.
Well, the thing about it too as well, and thank you so much for sharing that. We're on Divine Soul Journey here with Hans, and and I want to thank him so much for sharing all of this, a wealth of knowledge. And one of the things we do know is that the body, the unconscious mind, has a job to do to protect you as best as it can, but you have to do part of the work too as well. And we're just saying you work together, understand in harmony and balance, and yes, make the choices. And the reason why I ask for the choices is that yes, people have to come in and say enough is enough. I had to do that many times, say, you know what, enough is enough. I've had enough of this. What do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do. And as crazy as it sounds, self-talk, I used to think my mother was absolutely nuts. But self-talk is actually part of our neurology that, we when we hear ourselves doing it, we're surprised how it can help us, definitely. One of the things I want to ask you before it slips my mind, you talk about markers. So if you can just give us a brief synopsis of basically, we have markers in our body, especially in the blood, and we use it for technology and testing. But just tell us basically what a marker is, so audience would have probably a better understanding of what a marker is, so it can help put us in the context.
Most people are familiar with their doctor prescribing a cholesterol measurement as a measurement of their cardiovascular health.
Okay.
And that's taken about 100 years to establish the link between cholesterol and cardiovascular problems. Because really the cholesterol itself is not bad. It's only when it oxidizes and sticks in your arteries and blocks the blood flow through your heart that it creates a problem. But the measurement of your level of cholesterol in your bloodstream is used as a marker for your cardiovascular health. The biomarker that I use is a molecule, a group of molecules called carotenoids that are a good, accurate, and objective measure of a person's fruit and vegetable consumption.
Okay.
And that can be measured in blood. It can be measured in tissue. And I have become a champion to encourage people to measure that biomarker, which is influenced by a number of things in addition to a person's consumption of fruit and vegetables. It is influenced by the supplements that they're taking. It's influenced by the amount of fat that they're carrying in their body. It's influenced by the amount of stress that they're carrying, because this biomarker, the carotenoids, are also an antioxidant. So if you create more free radicals, and free radicals are just the cost of doing business with oxygen. That's how we breathe. Yeah. If you're looking at managing those and seeing how your body is dealing with those, the measurement of those carotenoids is a good measure of how your overall antioxidant network is dealing with life.
Beautiful.
Think of it as the best analogy is when you see a car beginning to rust, and I live in the southern half of the United States, we don't see much rust unless it's on the ocean. But the rust comes from the inside out. Yeah. And that's really oxidative stress. It's oxidation. So
yes.
This wonderful measurement, this wonderful molecule, these group of molecules called carotenoids, in their ability to read out, to be a measure of what is your antioxidant status, also indirectly read out on what is the amount of oxidative stress that you're dealing with in your body.
Beautiful. Would that also be not exactly the same, but similar for a diabetic? When you test your blood and you do your blood test, and they're looking for the average, which is the A1C. That's also like a marker, a simplified version, what you're saying in terms of diabetes, just to have an idea, because you can take your blood test. they test for two things. Of course, your blood sugar that day, and then, of course, the average over the 3-month period. So that's also considered like a marker as well, right? It's just a guideline.
Absolutely. And Diane, it's nice, it's good that you bring up the A1C, because the carotenoid biomarker, at least when it's measured in the skin, is like a longer term readout, like the A1C is, reporting on what has been happening in your system for the last 30 to 60 days.
Yes, I know. I have to work with that. My whole family is, my dad was on insulin, and my family is, not to say it's hereditary, but, I didn't realize I was until my niece, who was on insulin, said to me, I've been diabetic longer than you. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. It never occurred to me until she said that when I was 23, I had gestational, my 3 pregnancies, I was diabetic for 3 of them. And I was like, really? My dad was diabetic in his 20s. And then, of course, so once I don't even understand why gestational. I never really researched it. However, the point is, we just don't know what system until sometimes we have a wake-up call. And yes, it was lifestyle changes. And yes, we had to make a choice. And yes, again, it's all about choice. So,
well, also, Diana, let me interrupt you again. It is also, what I've known is dependent diabetes, which is type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
Those people live a much healthier life because they are measuring. They are so connected to what their body needs to make sure that they're not going hyperglycemic or hypoglycemic. They know what is going on, and most of the people I know, they look incredibly well shaped and healthy. So if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. I think that's a standard sort of proverb that people use. So I would say, do whatever you can to measure the important biomarkers of your holistic health as you go through life, to make sure that you are keeping the system in balance.
Absolutely. And the best biomarker is when you wake up in the morning and something doesn't feel right, whether it be emotionally, mentally, physically, just know there's something wrong. The body is speaking to you. On that note, I would like to do one of the things that we love to do on the show, and that is to do a forgiveness practice. And if you are open to receiving a blessing, this is not about religion. Everybody can take part. You just have to say yes out there. Play with us. And if it's not for you, it's okay. That's all right. Just relax and enjoy the rest of the show. But Hans, are you open for that?
Open to a blessing?
Yes.
Absolutely. Always
Okay.
love being blessed.
So let me just, prep everyone. So please sit up. Put one hand in your lower abdomen. Put one hand by your, if you have pain anywhere, or if not, put it by your heart area, between your chest there. Whatever makes you comfortable. It's okay. The other thing is, if you're lying down, please, if I ask you to say anything, for those who are lying down, say it in silence, because if you say anything out loud, it will just probably drain your energy, and you don't want that. And this takes about 3 days. Hans is going to get all of it, but you're going to get a taste of it for all the audience. So be open and just relax and enjoy. So Hans, if you can just close your eyes for a moment, and I would like you to connect. And for everyone else who's willing to, you're open to this. Just close your eyes and connect with whatever source connection you have of a higher being, a light. And if not, you don't believe in that, you believe in the moon, the stars, the sky, whoever, whatever, that anything that gives you energy. It could be the sun, it could be anything. So just connect, and I just want you to connect, and just focus on some golden light coming through your crown, through your head, through your body. And just breathe. The most important thing is to belly breathe. And we're going to do a forgiveness practice as well. Very simple, very short and sweet. Now, please, everyone, make a request. And Hans, please make a request in your heart. Let it come from the heart. For whatever it is you want in terms of your body, whatever. However, if you're not quite sure, just leave it up to your heaven's team to decide for you. They know everything about you. And that's another conversation how we can talk about that. So there are a couple of things I'm going to ask Hans to say. You all can say it mentally in his mind. And we'll do this in the interest of time. So just close your eyes and keep breathing. And I'll do the rest. You might hear me say a few Mandarin words, but I'll explain it in English. Hao means hello, Gonsong basically means when we call on our heavens team or the souls, they're giving you the healing because it's not Dianne doing it. They have to go back and rest. We thank them, we appreciate them, and say, yes, it's okay. You can go home and rest. Yes, they need to rest. They're very busy. So basically, that's what it is. So here we go. Just close your eyes. Relax, drop your shoulders. Be with yourself. How? Oh, before I do that, let me just check to see because it's not the end doing it. It's okay to do this. Okay. How? Dear Divine, dear Tao, dear Source. Tao basically means divine, oneness. This is not about religion, so just relax. Divine is whoever you connect with. Thank you. They're all the inner souls, the moon, the stars, the sky, Mother Mary, Jesus, Saint, Angel, whoever you connect with your heavens team. That's who they are. That's up to you. This is who you are. We thank them. And dear, our soul, our spirit, the one we've had since time you ever thought. And even this particular, I call it 100 years. Hans wants to live more than 100 years. This particular soul as well. We thank you all for coming. We thank you, love you, and appreciate you. And in your minds, everyone, just ask very simply and kind. Be very courteous and kind and grateful for all the light treasures in your lower abdomen, because you do have them, to please activate. And then my Tao Dai healing hands, my Tao hands, and all the calligraphies, love, peace, and harmony. The music you're hearing in the background is a love, peace, and harmony. Very powerful. There's also the local version, the vocal version. Very powerful. If you're not feeling well, please do listen to it. We thank you. Please all activate. 10 dads, everything. And they're all the souls in this realm or any lifetime whom Hans and his ancestors may have hurt, disrespected in any capacity whatsoever. We ask for forgiveness. Just keep breathing, everyone. And all the souls who may have hurt Hans and his ancestors in any capacity, we give forgiveness. Please know all debts have been cancelled. We no longer owe anyone anything. Thank you. And dear our Heavens Team Divine, please offer a blessing as appropriate for Hans. Hans, say your full name 3 times in your mind is fine, and everybody else who's listening, please say it. And please honor his request, or whatever he's chosen today requested, whether it be something specific or leave it up in your hands. And to please, if you can, transform any negative messages, information, darkness, blockages, anything that is preventing him from moving forward in whatever his heart desires and his mission and his purpose, or as he chooses, into positive love and light and information and messages. Thank you, love. Thank you. Just feel your hearts opening up. The area, if anybody has the illness, put your hands there. Just keep breathing. It will help all areas of your body and your life. Blessing starts. Just keep breathing the golden light and just relax. Lightly. Take a deep breath. Dawan's blessing ends. Dawan's rest. Please put your hands in your prayer position, if that's what you choose. However you do it, give gratitude and thanks in your own way. I would say this way: how means all is well. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, Tao. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Heaven's team. All the souls that came today to bless Hans and everyone who is on the show, who partook of this beautiful blessing. Thank you, my Tao Dai healing hands and my Tao hands. For those you know, I do have that. And all the calligraphies and the tools. Thank you, Master Shah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Always say everything in threes, just like the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. In this particular case, it's your soul, Heaven's team, and yourself. Thank you. We appreciate it. And Gonsong, Gonsong, Gonsong basically means thank you. And yes, you can go home to your humble abode. Just take some deep breaths and just relax. When you're ready, open your eyes. And if you can, in the last couple of minutes we have hands, you would like to, yes or no. And this takes about 3 days to integrate. And you may feel tingle, you may feel the slightest thing, heat, warm, you might feel light. You can feel anything and you can feel nothing. Some people are more sensitive to energy. And just know that yes, things were happening. So Hans, can you just very quickly share with us if you choose to? If not, it's okay. As we wrap up here. Are we back, Hans? Hans? Hans is still in his zone meditating. And I just want to say, for those out there who may have just understood what we've done, or may not understand what we did, very much is that sometimes we just have to open our hearts. And we may have lost Hans there for a moment, but it's okay. It's okay because there is a higher consciousness to this. And we're not here to convince anyone. But what I do know, sometimes we're looking for something. We're looking for something because we don't know what the unknown is. And we don't know what it means to be open and willing and making choices. And you're here listening today because you have an interest, you have a calling. You're looking for answers, for questions that you don't know. And that's amazing. And that's great. We're here with Hans, and I want to say thank you so much, Hans, for the knowledge you've shared with us. It is very profound, and if we have helped anyone here today in regards to answering these questions, in regards to helping you, maybe you make a few life shifts and changes, drink more water, get better sleep, change your diet, remove certain things from your diet, everyday lifestyles. Let's get the dopamine and the serotonin and the oxytocin pumping. That's the happy drug in the body. Go to a happy place where it will automatically pump it. Choose not to be depressed. Choose not to be negative. Choose your thoughts. Choose what you say. Choose what you write. Choose what you watch. Especially before you go to bed. This will have an impact on your body, because during the night your body is doing the maintenance and you have to work with it. You don't want it to go in overtime and do extra work just because you choose not to make these life changes and shifts. When you wake up in the morning, be grateful for who you are. Be grateful for the little things that you have. Be grateful for just waking up in the morning in a bed. Be grateful that you can get up and go to the bathroom, a warm bathroom. See, gratitude is all about humbleness, being thankful. Do something nice for someone today, even if it's a smile. It will make you feel good. And those dopamine and the serotonin and the oxytocin, those happy drugs will be so happy. Your body will feel different. That's what healing is about. Your subconscious mind, whether you believe this or not, your gut, your instinct, whatever you want to call it, it's there to help you and protect you. It will never hurt you. But you have to be open to do your part. You have to be open to make these conscious decisions. You have to shut up your monkey mind and say, no, I'm not listening. And train it not to listen. Learn to meditate. Meditate could be just go out and take a walk. Shut everything out as much as you can. Go in nature, walk around the block, go to the lake. Lake is the best place, in the parks. Enjoy nature. You're put in this earth for a purpose. You're put in this earth for a reason. That is what we do on Divine Soul Journey. And here we're with Hans Parge for sharing, and he shared so much with us. And I want to again thank him for sharing his knowledge, his wisdom. And by being grateful and like this to him too as well, will put a smile on your face. It puts a smile on my face. And guess what? The happy drug, love drugs, all is pumping in me. We do the Divine Soul Journey simply because we're here on a mission to help you. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And if you've made a difference in your life, awesome. Please reach out to us at dsjshow2020@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to hear a story. We want you to be on the show with us. So I want to say Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Hans, for sharing your story and all your wisdom. And thank each and every one of you for being with us today and always. Because without you, there's no us on the Divine Soul Journey. We love you, we honor you, we appreciate each and every one of you. And from my heart, I'm truly grateful for you for being here today with us. So on that note, I would like to say aloha, namaste, sitaram, assalamu alaikum, shalom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to each and every one of you. We're truly grateful for you. In love, peace, and harmony, have an amazing day. Reach out and give a hug, share a hug, a smile, do a little token of kindness to someone. And I want you to observe your body. See how you feel. It's all about feelings. Have an awesome day. Thank you.